Now, if you've ever kept reptiles, we've all had the same issue, which is, what tank do I get? There are so many different options for pretty much any reptile out there. Glass, melamine, PVC, front opening, top opening. There are so many options and it can get a little confusing at times. And it's always gonna be like that. There's always gonna be options out there. However, some options come with more benefits than others. Let's say melamines, for instance. Melamine enclosures are great for desert reptiles that need a little bit more heat, that don't like to see the reflection too much. So melamine helps retain that heat. Glass enclosures are really good for a nice visual appearance from all around. PVC enclosures are super light, they go together really easily. It really just depends on your animal and what you're looking for at the same time. Now, we just got a package from Ekulla, and this is a all-in-one solution terrarium enclosure. I'm actually pretty interested in this and kind of curious. It says species mode on it. It has lizard mode, insect mode, snake mode, amphibian mode, indoor plant mode, and it has advanced settings as well. Airflow function, UVB light, warmth, gradient daylight function, cold night function. Literally is an all-in-one enclosure. So if I'm guessing correctly, that means you buy this enclosure, you don't need to buy extra lighting, you don't need to buy heating, you don't need to buy, it has an airflow function, which means it probably has a fan. I'm super curious. So let's check this out and let's see what this enclosure is all about. So right off the bat, it's definitely packaged very well, which means shipping for this was going to be a breeze, and you shouldn't have any issues with broken enclosures. That is one issue that you'll tend to run into when it comes to glass enclosures, is shipping. Normally when it comes to enclosures, I personally don't need a user manual. However, considering all the electronics in this, probably going to need that later. So we're definitely not going to throw that away. Ooh, that is rad. So right off the bat, that's cool. You can already see the fan. You got some LED lighting, which I'm going to imagine is going to have UVA as well. But the fan is huge. Ventilation is so important with a lot of reptiles. Not, a lot of enclosures you deal with just stagnant air. So ventilation, whether it's blowing air in or pulling it out and just constantly circulating it, that's extremely important and honestly nice to see integrated into an enclosure. And that's some solid enclosure right there. I mean, that's some solid material right there. That's gonna be a sturdy tank. That's awesome. So it already has a natural basking area. That's rad. Why does he look so mad? Look at him. Now see, so it already has built-in modes right here. So you got lizard mode, insect mode, snake mode, amphibian mode, indoor plant mode. I'm gonna imagine that that's still, like those are default settings. I'm gonna imagine that you can still set this up on your own settings. Your lighting is gonna change. That's so rad. Look at this. So your lighting is gonna change. You got a sunrise, you have noon, cloudy alternation. So you're gonna get brighter, darker, brighter, darker. Sunset, that's super cool. I was right. That was the heat pad. It's already built in. That is rad. It has a cold night function too, so you can get that natural temperature drop as well for your animals. UVB and UVA. Come on guys, give me something not to like. So far I like every single thing on here. And stackable. That's even cooler. That's rad. So the installation guide is literally 5 steps. Not bad. And you can lock it. Not bad. Not gonna lie. This thing is honestly pretty good size. This is good size. Trying to figure out what we should put in here. I feel like dart frogs would be cool in here. So it's a lot of height though. So maybe like bumblebees. I don't know if we have bumblebees. I'll figure it out when I get to it. But we're definitely doing amphibians. And there you guys have it. That is the Ekulla all-in-one terrarium. Now it's time for an honest review. Let's talk about the setup. Setting up this enclosure was super easy. It took me about 15 minutes. The instructions were really clear, and in all honesty, I didn't really need them other than when it came to programming the enclosure. So setup was super easy and it was packed perfectly. Now let's talk about the lighting and all the integration in this enclosure, which I think is amazing. The UVA, the UVB, and the integrated fan, which I'm super geeked over still, is honestly extremely important. The heating is the only thing that I have a problem with. And let me explain why. The only option for heating on this enclosure is underbelly heat. And underbelly heat isn't ideal for every reptile. Now, there are a lot of reptiles that like that overhead heat, and a lot of them like underbelly heat at the same time. Let's say a bearded dragon, for instance, right? A bearded dragon will bask on a rock that the sun has been hitting all day to get that nice warm belly heat, but they still want that overhead heat as well. And unfortunately, with the way that this enclosure is set up, there is no way to add an overhead heat source. So in that aspect, it is a bit limiting. Now let's talk about the types of animals that you would be able to keep in this enclosure. Baby gargoyle geckos, baby crested geckos, dart frogs, smaller invertebrates, and in my opinion, that's where it caps, right? Which some people, that's all they have, and this is a perfect enclosure for them. I think this is an amazing enclosure for the right animal. Now, being limited with the types of animals that you can keep, in my opinion, I think this would be amazing with all the same integration and maybe an overhead heat source and 40-gallon enclosure or 60-gallon. That would be crazy. And who's to say that Ekulla isn't already working on something like that right now? But currently, this is the enclosure that they sent us. This is the enclosure that we have. I'm pretty sure this is actually their largest enclosure that they currently carry on inventory. But a larger enclosure would be awesome. Imagine a bearded dragon in a setup just like this, but longer with an overhead heat source. That would be killer. And again, who's to say that they're not already working on something like that? But other than that, I think that this enclosure is awesome for the right animal. And one more thing, the programming. When it has the default settings for amphibians, snakes, lizards, all that good stuff, you can still tweak those. They're default settings, but they are not fixed. You can tweak them to meet your animal's exact needs. So that's also really cool as well. The default settings are more of just for convenience. I think it is a great enclosure, again, for the right animal and for the right hobbyist. So that is my honest review on the Ekulla all-in-one terrarium. Leave a comment down below and let me know what you guys think about this enclosure and what you guys think maybe they can add to it, or just in general what you like about it. Hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell notification so you never miss a video that we put out. And I'll catch you guys next time. Whoop!